Joining us now is James Andre, our France 24 senior correspondent, who's been reporting from Syria. James, Baghouz is the last bastion of jihadists in Syria. You were there recently. Why is this battle so difficult?
Well, two reasons. One that you just pointed out is the fact that there are civilians in there, and the Kurdish fighters we spoke to have been surprised at the numbers of civilians that are actually staying or being kept inside these last pockets of resistance by the Islamic State Group. But obviously the other phenomenon is the fact that these are battle-hardened jihadists who basically have no choice, or at least that's how they see it. You know, they have a choice between coming out and being interrogated, being put in jail for years, or fighting till the bitter end. And the ones that are still there are the ones who did not seize the opportunity to leave at the end of what was a wider battle. When we were there, that was about 2 weeks ago, there were still 3 villages being held, and we were there for 15 days. Over that time, about 20,000 civilians came out. Now, we did know at that stage, and we were told, that some jihadi fighters, the Islamic State Group actual fighters, were trying to exfiltrate with the general population. Well, we've come to a stage where the groups are too small anyway, and the ones who are still in there, for most of them, have moved back with the territory and have decided to fight to the bitter end.
So how many of them are actually foreign fighters?
Difficult to tell, but we have been told by the fighters over there that it's a lot of the ones who are left are indeed foreign fighters. So you have European fighters. There are quite a lot of French people who are still inside, from what we've heard. There are also some Iraqis who do not want to go across the border back to Iraq because that territory there is held by Shia militias, and they're afraid of what could happen to them there. And of course, in case they get caught, there is one thing that's interesting about this part of Syria, which is, you know, held by the Syrian Democratic Forces, which are backed by a Kurdish group, is that there's no death sentence in their law. So the fact of the matter is, if they do get caught, they will not be executed. So that was one of the reasons why some people were exfiltrating. But we have the most hardened, the most convinced fighters who are still in there, and a lot of them are the ones who travelled from abroad.
Now, I'm particularly interested in some of the female jihadists that you've got to meet, and let's take a listen to one of them who you interviewed.
Nous, en tant que femmes, on fait... Je suis désolée, là-bas, par faire à manger, le ménage, la cuisine, vous voyez, nous, on va pas au combat, physiquement, on fait rien, vous voyez ce que je veux dire. Après, ça va être des idées, des pensées que le gouvernement va pas aimer. Mais nous, celles qui veulent retourner en France, c'est pas pour commettre des attentats, c'est pas pour aller tuer je sais pas qui dans un supermarché. Nous, si on veut rentrer, c'est pour essayer de retrouver une vie normale.
Quickly, can you tell me who it is that you just interviewed for the view?
So this is Mathilde. She is a French jihadist. She came from France 4 years ago. She's from Tours, and we actually got to speak to her twice in that report you saw there. And then we met her again at Al Hol camp. She is quite typical. That soundbite is what most of these women say, as in, we're women, we didn't fight, we didn't do anything wrong, we were just there raising children and cleaning dishes, so we shouldn't be put in jail. But then again, when you interview these women, Mathilde or others, the big question mark is, they don't ever seem to completely condemn what the Islamic State did, or very often do not really regret actually travelling to Syria.
Are they at all repentant?
Well, the ones we met, apart from maybe one exception, really aren't. And then if you push the interrogation, eventually they'll say, look, I regret coming to Syria because of the way it's finished, but we had good times in the Islamic State, which is quite surprising. What you do realize when you talk to these women is that they came to take part in a utopic society that they wanted to be part of because of their engagement inside the Islamic religion. A lot of the women who were converts were actually recent converts. That's another thing which is quite surprising. You're talking about women who converted maybe a year before leaving to Syria. An interesting interview we had was with a Swedish woman who was with her child, and she said, it's like a sport. You start a new sport and you want to go to the top, you want to train, you want to become the champion. She said, well, you know, I was told that if I came to Syria I could have Jinnah, which is paradise, and I wanted paradise, so I came. But it's very much a mixed bag, but it's very, very rare to see someone actually repent on camera about what happened.
And do they want to come back to their country of origin?
Yes, 100% of the ones we spoke to, and that's about 20 people, some from Canada, from Tunisia, from France, from Sweden, Germany, quite a lot of German women, all of them said we want to go home. Now, it's interesting to note that, for example, Mathilde says, I know I'm going to be going to prison and I'm okay with that. I will sit in prison for 10 years if that's what it takes, but I want to come home. The Tunisian women, for example, don't see why they should go to prison, and they're actually telling us, look, we need a measure of freedom so we can wear our full-faced veils in Tunisia. If not, this is all going to start again. So different positions, but all of them want to go back to their countries of origin, of course, which asks a lot of questions.
James Andre there, and you can catch James Andre's series of reports, extraordinary reports there on France24.com.